Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Suni and I'm the maker behind ippeun here on YouTube, also available on Instagram and Ravelry with the same username. This will be our final podcast episode of the year, and I'm planning at least on doing a special kind of 2022 handmade things wrap up. I think it's almost entirely wearables though. I don't think I've made anything for myself that wasn't some sort of garment, but I'll basically be going through all the things I've made, not including gifts for other people, and kind of ranking them according to a certain set of criteria, which I'll explain in that video. And I think I'll post that one in the new year though. So this will be the last you will see of me in 2022. And yes, very exciting. I'll do the same format of what I'm wearing, finished objects, works in progress, and then I don't think I have any acquisitions, but upcoming plans. So to fit the time of year that I am filming and the upcoming holiday, I'm wearing my Santa Baby shrug. It is a design by Anne, who is I Will Crochet over on Instagram. And I did this as a test. And I used Brighton Beach Golden Star Shell colorway. And for the ruffles, I used avec Anna's merino in, I believe it's tourmaline. So it's really pretty light pink, and then with a very nice sort of variegated yarn with some difference in texture all throughout, which made it really fun to work with. And it is a made to measure pattern, so you can do it with any variety of yarn for any measurements. Sorry about that, I have no idea where I left off, but I think it's about the sizing. So yeah, made to measure pattern, so you can use, you can customize it to fit however you'd like. If you like it more oversized in certain areas than others, very easy to do that. And you can also use any type of yarn, although I believe the pattern recommends a DK or light Aran weight cotton yarn. And then, on that note, finished object, the first one, is something that I mentioned last episode. And it is another Santa Baby shrug. This one is in black, so it would be hard to see some of the, I don't know how it looks. There you go. So, well, you can see, and I did not weave in super neatly, but that's okay. I knit this with Lily's Sugar and Cream cotton yarn, which is a, I believe, worsted weight cotton, I think? I'm not sure. But yeah, I just used black. I got 2 cones for it, and I used just over 1, which is a little bit, but I think I can make something with the leftover. And I did not do the ruffle or trim accent on this. I just did plain as is because I didn't really have anything in stash already that I wanted to use, and I didn't think it needed it. And it's kind of nice to have a little bit more like classic, I don't know what classic, but a little bit more plain version. And I had this paired with a black dress that I had in my closet, and I thought that they fit each other or suit each other really well, and it was perfect for me to wear for a little outing I had. And next up on finished objects is technically a set, and I will admit, I don't know if I'm in good conscience I can count them as finished objects because I haven't woven in my ends, but like, that's so menial. So these are the finished tin sealing hand towels that I made as Christmas gifts, because I do celebrate Christmas, and I used the pattern tin sealing hand towel. There's also a dishcloth version, I think, which is basically just smaller and a square. Or technically it's this width, but it's a square. The hand towel is supposed to be wider, but I ended up casting on the stitches for the dish towel and just made it really long. Anyways, this is a pattern by Sandi Rosner for this is a pattern by Sandi Rosner for Pearl Soho, and I used all the same yarn. It is Lion Brand's 24/7 cotton, and so the colors are ecru, red, pink lemonade, jade, and I want to say navy, but I'm not sure. I'll put it all down below. And everything is linked in the description. And then this finished object is also another gift. My older sister, if you're watching this, stop. Go to the next section. Timestamps are down below. You are not allowed to see this. This is for you. But it is a little pouch. Yeah, it does show up actually. There's a little, it's crocheted and there's a little heart in the center. I followed a YouTube video by Adel crochet. It's basically just a video tutorial on how to make it, and I did have some slight modifications that are different from the pattern. The main ones being having the few rows of single crochet at the bottom, having a little more space below and above the heart, and then some other very minor stuff. And I didn't cut off and weave in this end because this was how much yarn I had left. Very successful game of yarn chicken, especially for crochet. I lose it pretty often. Thankfully I did not for this. So I basically just used some stash yarn that I had because I want something that could be very easily machine washable, because I think a lot for gift knits, especially when it isn't wearable items, when it's like pouches or maybe little stuffed animals, pillow covers, stuff like that, the more easy it is for someone to take care of them and like wash them and clean them without it being a whole hassle, that's more important. So I'm not entirely sure of the fiber content. I want to say it's 100% acrylic for both, but I don't know. I don't have the label for it. I just had them in little balls. But it's that little drawstring. Very cute. And then final finished object is something that I started and finished yesterday. And it was a bit of a selfish make because I just wanted to make something for myself, and I had been planning it for, I don't know, I think I might have mentioned wanting to make it last episode. I definitely did. And so I made it. Here it is. Ta-da. Oh, there you go. So this is the checkerboard earmuffs by, I'm sorry, the name is Korean and they don't have an English translation. 둥둥뜨개. They also have a YouTube and a website in Korean, but the YouTube, I'm not sure if it has English subtitles, but it generally does have the pattern instructions written out, and I think it does follow standard English crochet terms. So it'll say things like 1SC, 2SC, stuff like that. So I think it still is relatively easy to follow along, even if you don't speak Korean, and plus they do show you as they're doing it, so you can just follow along that way if it gets too confusing trying to figure out what the writing means. And so I made this with the leftover yarn I had from my Gemini pullover, my Gemini sweater that I test knit and finished recently. And I had maybe a little bit over 1.5 skeins of the blue hyacinth and a little bit under 1 skein of the white, which was white. And I did have to, where is it? I think it's on this side. I don't know how easy it is to tell, but I actually had to get some stash yarn that was like a cream-ish color, creamy white, and add that in because I ran out of the white yarn. You hold the yarns double, and the only time I didn't do that was the border edge and also for the straps, but the entire rest of the checkerboard is done while holding the yarn double, which makes it really nice and thick. I think I mentioned before how, especially if it's windy, my ears get so cold in it, like to the point where it hurts and it is very uncomfortable. So I wanted something that I could use for that. So for that purpose, this would be, I imagine, really great at blocking out some strong wind, and you just put it on and then you tie it. Kind of like a bonnet or something. You do a bow and all that, whatever. Covers the ears. Very nice. Although, while it is pretty nice, and I do like the color combination and all of that, the wool itself isn't super soft, so especially for the straps down here where it's under the chin, I can find that it gets a little bit uncomfortable, maybe even scratchy, but it's honestly not that big of a deal, and if I ever wear like a scarf or a turtleneck or something, I won't even be able to feel it then, so it's fine. And I think I made 2 modifications. One is doing, I think maybe 1 or 2 more checkerboard repeats than the pattern says, and also instead of doing a chain and then single crochet into that chain for the straps, I did a foundationless single crochet chain. Yeah, on both sides. That is all for finished objects. Now we are going to quickly roll through the work in progress because I'm supposed to be gaming. I have gaming plans. Okay, so first one, I've hit a bit of a wall. Okay, older sister, if you're here again, look away again. Yeah, just skip this section entirely, I guess. This was going to be a step-by-step sweater for my sister for her birthday, which is right after Christmas. Step-by-step sweater is a free pattern by Florence Miller, or Handmade by Florence. She has a YouTube knitting podcast, and I believe also like a study school YouTube channel as well, and a knitting Instagram. I'll link the knitting related stuff down below. So it's a free pattern. I made one before for myself with some merino yarn, and then this is a recycled or thrifted cotton linen blend. Linen 55%, cotton 45%, and it is really pretty. The problem is, because I got it from thrifting a sweater and then unwinding that yarn and repurposing it for this, there is a limited quantity of it, and I can't get any more. So what I have, that's it. And the problem is that I don't have enough yarn to finish the second sleeve. I finished this one, as you can see, and it's nice. I was actually a little worried about it being too wide or too big, but it actually turned out really well. Although now I don't have enough yarn to do the second sleeve. I have some, but not enough to do the entire sleeve, so I'm not sure if I should try and resize it, so make the sleeve a little bit smaller and see if that helps and I'll have enough to make the second sleeve, or if I should just make it into short sleeves. I really would like to give just like a regular sweater, because that was kind of the whole point. I wanted to have a nice sweater to give her, but I don't know. So I really don't have that much time, and I think I still have one last Christmas gift. Oh, actually I have multiple. One last Christmas gift for family, and then some other gifts for to go along with the hand towels. So not sure what to do, but it's a bummer. Speaking of Florence Miller, I am test knitting for her a recent design that she made. It's called the Mountain Walk Socks. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to show it because I don't know, she didn't mention. So I'll do like a quick little flash sneak peek. Bing! Okay. So the yarn I'm using is Variation Superwash Fingering, which is a 75% superwash Australian merino wool and then 25% nylon. And the colorway is 312 Midnight Ruby. This is a sock yarn I got from a yarn store in Bethesda, Maryland, which they had a little like yarn sock wall, which I thought was really cute. I was initially worried that you wouldn't be able to see the cable pattern that well with how it's a relatively dark color, but I think it's actually not that bad. So, the deadline for it is January 2nd, so I definitely should be able to finish on time because I am past the heel and I'm starting the gusset decreases, so very nearly at the end. And it's really nice. It's a pretty simple pattern actually. It's a lot more simple than I thought, and I always forget how fast socks are to knit. But anyways, that is that. And then last work in progress, I have started using my Goosey Fibers Advent yarn. I decided to do it instead of an Advent for Christmas, kind of leading up to New Year's instead, so day 8 was day 1, and then so on and so forth. I'm actually way behind. We're on to, what is it, day 15 now, I think? I'm still on day 3's yarn, so who knows when I'll actually end up finishing it. I wanted to have it when it was still cold, but I mean, it's still cold in like March, right? I don't know. But this is what I have so far. So this will be a very big shawl. I'm not sure how big I'm actually going to make it. This is a, I guess, free-handed pattern. It's kind of a combination between the Sophie shawl and the Anisadora shawl pattern that I mentioned last time that I initially was thinking about following, but just ended up not doing it. So it is garter stitch. I don't know how well you can tell. But it's some really pretty colors. I decided not to do a transition thing because I'm just trying to make this as simple and painless as possible for myself, basically. So cast on with day 1, 6 stitches, and with built-in I-cord edge, so 6 stitches, 3 for each edge, and then increase every other row, so always on the right side, and then keep going until I run out of yarn, then join with a split splice because it's non-superwash wool, and just keep going. And the initial plan was to make it super huge, so after day 12, because it's a 24-day advent, then that's when I start my decreases. But since I'm a bit past halfway with day 3 and it's already this wide, I don't know how big I want it to be total, but then I don't know, it's kind of a shame if I only use like half of the advent yarn for one thing and then I only have half for another, because it's hard enough to think about what to do with, try to plan out for the 24. I'm not sure what will happen, but either way, this is very fun, mindless. Do this while talking to people, do this while in a conversation, while thinking, while watching something. It's fantastic. And it's so pretty. I love the different colors. So I'm halfway with day 3. Next up, this is day 4. And then after that, day 5. Oh, maybe this way? Makes more sense. Yeah. Day 4. Oh, day 4. Day 5. Very pretty. It gets into like, there's a whole range. There's like some darker ones, and there's also like greens and then blues. It's really pretty. The gradation or transition between all the colors isn't what I would pick if it was me, but I don't know, I'm interested to see how it'll turn out. And well, I guess if I end up calling it early and making it smaller and not using all of the 24 skeins, I guess we'll see what I do with the remaining 12, or remaining however many. But yes, that's all for works in progress. There would have been something else to show you, what was going to be a present for my mom, but it's not going to work out, it's not going to happen. Not with the yarn I chose, so I'm abandoning that, and I have a other idea in mind, which I think is relatively simple and should be fine, and it should be pretty fast to make up, which is good because I'm definitely running out of time, but also I'm really trying to be more intentional about giving myself breaks when I'm knitting or crocheting because my body has been complaining a little bit. I think nothing too extreme. It might just be, especially with the cold weather, like muscles being a little more tense and like stiff in the morning. But I started getting some like irritation, some like pain in my elbow today, so I'm definitely trying to take it easy and limit everything that I do that involves like moving my body, especially when it's like repetitive motions like knitting, crochet, anything else like that. But yes, upcoming projects, not really anything on the horizon right now, although for plans I am still planning on making the Dear Duomo sweater with the Knox yarn that I have in stash. That's a sweater quantity. I have yet to do a gauge swatch. I'll do that once I'm done with all my projects that have a deadline. And if that doesn't work out, I'll slowly start looking for mohair. But then also, my local yarn store has this yarn in a different colorway on sale, and I love that colorway when I saw it. They just didn't have enough for me to make this project, so I didn't get it. But it's an even better sale right now, so I'm probably going to try and see if I can swing by and get some. And let's see, what else? The sporty knit skirt that I was making, and I was modifying a bunch because I wanted it to flare out more. I'm kind of thinking maybe I should frog back to the last part of the pattern that I was following exactly and just follow it to pattern, because I don't know if it would end up actually fine, and maybe just like I can block it a little bit more excessively to make it have the fit and the width that I want. But I'm a bit worried right now because it is getting pretty wide already, and it's not nearly at the length it needs to be at, that I maybe did it excessively too much. And because I have yarn also to make a second version in a lighter color for like springtime, so the darker one is for like winter-ish, and then the lighter color is for like warmer weather, that maybe it'll end up, the spring one I want it to be like the perfect version. So the winter one, it can be like, it'll still be a good skirt no matter what, but like it's okay if it doesn't fit my exact style. But the spring one I really wanted to, so now I'm thinking I should have done that one according to pattern, and then that way I can see how that one ends up and then adjust the spring one accordingly. And also because I'd have to block that one right now to see how it looks, and it's a whole hassle. Last thing is, while it's still warm, I do have that. Some leftover Sophia cashmere that I used for my homage pullover a few months ago that I did for a test. I have a little bit less than one ball in 2 different colors. I was thinking about making some mittens or some like wrist warmers, something like that, to keep my hands warm. But we'll see. That's also another thing. Everything, I'm not going to be able to touch anything until I'm done with Christmas and then test knits, which is only one test knit right now, which is good. But yes, that is all. I hope you all are doing well. If you do celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. If you are celebrating any other holidays, I hope you are having a great time doing that. And if you're not celebrating anything, I hope you're still having a restful season and you're staying nice and warm, staying healthy. I know there's a lot of like flu, cold, viruses going on around right now. So I hope you and your loved ones are doing well. And I will see you in 2023. Bye bye.